Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers land as Talanoa Hufanga in 33rd team's 2021 NFL redraft. Redraft exercises are always fun to look at. Think back on the time in which the redraft occurs and see what alternative options team could have gone with to go in a different direction. For the 33rd team's Marcus Mosher, that alternative direction in the 2021 NFL Draft for the Steelers centers on current San Francisco 49ers safety Talanoa Hufanga at number 24 overall, rather than landing running back Najee Harris in the first round of that draft. Talanoa Hufanga has established himself as one of the NFL's best box safeties, but a torn ACL ended his 2023 season prematurely. Still, he is a fantastic fit with Minkah Fitzpatrick, giving the Pittsburgh Steelers one of the best safety duos in the league, Mosher writes regarding Hufanga as the Steelers' selection in the 2021 NFL redraft exercise. Hufanga was an All-Pro selection during the 2022 season, recording 4 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. His playmaking and physicality would allow him to fit in perfectly in Pittsburgh. Hufanga was a 5th-round pick out of USC by the 49ers in the 2021 NFL Draft, going 180th overall. Coming out of USC, former Steelers great and Hall of Famer Troy Polamalu was his mentor. Since then, he's far outplayed his draft slot, earning a Pro Bowl nod in 2022 and his first-team All-Pro accolade. Hufanga started his breakout in the 2021 playoffs for the 49ers, blocking a punt against the Green Bay Packers and returning it for a touchdown in a 13-10 win. That then led to a starting role in 2022 as he truly burst onto the scene. That year, Hufanga recorded 97 tackles, 4 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 9 passes defensed and 2 forced fumbles. He continued his strong play into 2023, opening the season with an interception against the Steelers in a blowout win. He tore his ACL in Week 11, missing the 49ers' run to the Super Bowl. Harris has been a steady presence in the backfield for the Steelers, giving them 3 1,000-yard seasons to open his career. However, the Steelers declined Harris's 5th-year option in May, putting him in a contract year with the black and gold. Selecting a running back in the first round that year wasn't a popular move as the Steelers still needed plenty of help along the offensive line. Harris has been steady though, and nothing even close to a bust. Hufanga would have found himself behind Terrell Edmunds on the depth chart to start the 2021 season, but maybe he could have developed into that solid piece next to Minkah Fitzpatrick long-term. That could have kept the Steelers off the safety carousel in free agency in recent years with the likes of Damontae Kazee, Keanu Neal, and now Deshaun Elliott. Listen, The Terrible Take, episode 1209. Welcome back to the latest episode of The Terrible Take. Think of it as a super mini version of the Terrible Podcast. A short, 1 to 3 minute episode 7 days a week, every weekday at 5 p.m/EST, with Alex Kozora, Dave Bryan, Josh Carney, Ross McCorkle, Melanie Friedlander, and Joe Clark telling you what's on our minds. You can check out episodes here or wherever you listen to the Terrible Podcast. For episode 1095 on this Sunday afternoon, I talk about the ways that player performances at the NFL Scouting Combine can impact draft status, but why it may not matter for the Steelers. Ex-Steelers Pro Bowler named cut candidate, potential Steelers target. The search for the number 2 wide receiver continues for the Pittsburgh Steelers. While the team shouldn't give up hope on making a major splash, especially with the latest drama surrounding San Francisco 49ers star Brandon Ayuk, the Steelers should have other targets in mind as well. Bleacher Report's Alex K. argued one possible receiver target is former Steelers receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. K named Smith-Schuster a potential cut candidate for the New England Patriots on June 25. As a result, K wrote that the Steelers should have the veteran wideout on their radar. While it's unlikely he'll return to the Pro Bowl form he displayed for the Pittsburgh Steelers in his sophomore season, a healthy Smith-Schuster could still be a major asset for plenty of teams as a high-end number 3 wideout, wrote Kay. Although he posted 933 receiving yards with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs in 2022, most of Smith-Schuster's best NFL seasons came with the Steelers from 2017 to 21. In 2018, he made the Pro Bowl with 111 receptions, 1,426 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. Smith-Schuster, though, could be a cut candidate this summer because he hasn't produced with the Patriots. Last season, he had 29 receptions with 260 receiving yards and a touchdown in 11 games. That may end up being the 7-year veteran's only campaign with the club despite having 2 seasons left on a 3-year, $25.5 million contract, wrote Kay. While the Pats would be on the hook for a $9.6 million dead money charge in 2024 and another $2.6 million in 2025, they have a league-most $43.3 million in cap space available and may value the roster spot more than the player during a pivotal rebuilding campaign. New England signed Smith-Schuster to a 3-year, $25.5 million contract last offseason. But he didn't produce like a top receiver because of multiple injuries. Even when dressed, Smith-Schuster disappointed because of lingering injuries, averaging a career-low 23.6 yards per game. That was less than half of what he averaged with the Chiefs the prior season. After the first disappointing campaign in New England, there appears to be an argument to both keep and cut Smith-Schuster. Keeping him could help the development of rookie quarterback Drake May. But releasing Smith-Schuster will allow the Patriots to develop a different player at wide receiver. It's highly unlikely New England is a contender again before Smith-Schuster's current contract expires. So, the Patriots should prioritize the team's long-term goals. With the salary cap not a concern, the Patriots could move on from Smith-Schuster whenever without any deterrent if they don't value his veteran presence. The Steelers should still be interested in the veteran receiver market this summer. That's because as of the end of NFL minicamps, George Pickens was the only wideout on Pittsburgh's roster who had more than 209 receiving yards last season. Pittsburgh has made additions at receiver this offseason, but minor ones: Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, and Scott Miller. They also drafted Michigan's Roman Wilson in the 3rd round. But as it stands on June 25, one of these receivers will likely start for the Steelers. If Smith-Schuster is healthy, as he expressed he is to the Boston Herald's Doug Kyed, then he could be that starter for Pittsburgh instead. He could be particularly effective as a short, intermediate target playing opposite Pickens, who led the NFL in yards per catch last season. On April 4, former Steelers linebacker Arthur Moats proposed the Steelers trading for Smith-Schuster. At the time, not every Steelers analyst supported the idea, but acquiring him on the waiver wire would be significantly better because Pittsburgh wouldn't have to give anything up to land the veteran receiver. Bringing Smith-Schuster into training camp under those circumstances has very little risk and some decent reward. However, Smith-Schuster also isn't the perfect wide receiver addition for the Steelers. With Pittsburgh from 2017 to 21, he played most of his snaps in the slot. While he's become more of an outside receiver the past 2 seasons, Smith-Schuster still lined up at least 40% of the time in the slot during 2022 and 2023, according to Pro Football Focus. The Steelers already have receivers who can play in the slot with Wilson and Calvin Austin III. Watkins and Miller may be best used in a slot role too. The ideal receiver addition for the Steelers this offseason is a wideout who can predominantly play outside opposite Pickens. Smith-Schuster isn't that player, at least not all the time. Still, pundits shouldn't fault the Steelers for having an interest in Smith-Schuster if it only costs them a league minimum contract to bring him in for summer competition. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Juju Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.